Yes.
Wacky Wednesday. Wacky Wednesday.
It's Wacky Wednesday con El Bumper.
Unfiltered. The real deal. No pre-planning. No chingaderas. Straight up from the bill.
Wacky Wednesday.
B-Town's very own.
It's Wacky Wednesday con El Bumper.
Here's your host, Bumper Gomez.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I'd like to welcome you to my podcast, Bumper's Wacky Wednesday. If this is your first time joining us, I guess it'd be better if you could see me, right? There you go. Welcome. If it's your first time tuning in, thanks y'all for tuning in. If not, to my regulars, here we are, another Wednesday in the books. Tonight is a special night because it's veterans. It's Veterans Day. We're a family of veterans, me, my son, and my daughter. We're all veterans, so we're a big family of veterans. So to all my veterans out there, my hat's off to you. You know what I mean? It's not a job for everybody. If everybody could do it, everybody would sign up. So to all my veterans, old, young, and just thank you, man. Really thank you from myself and all my family. I appreciate your service to our great country. So people are hitting me up all week like, Bump, are you going to have like a Veterans Day thing? Wednesday falls on a veteran. And it's like, man, you know what? Nah, I'm just, hey, thank you for my service. I'm good with that. You know what I mean? I'm okay with that. Last night I got to celebrate the Marine Corps birthday, which always falls a day before, usually a day before Veterans Day. And I got to celebrate with a bunch of my fellow Marines in downtown San Antonio at the VFW, and we had a blast. So if you were out there last night, it was a great time. Yeah, so I kind of said, yeah, you know, I could have got a veteran in here. I mean, I could have got my son in here. I could have got anybody. You know, I know service members all over the place, but it's like, hey, you know, I get enough of that, I guess. I just want to, again, thank you guys, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. And to all my service members, thank you for your service. Keep doing what you're doing if you're out there. And we're praying for everybody that's overseas serving our country. With that being said, man, it's been a crazy weekend. It's been a crazy week. The world is just, every day, I don't even like turning on the news anymore, to be honest with you. Just kind of leave it alone. It is what it is. And I'm rolling with the punches with what the world's bringing to us, I'm okay with it. Let this election spin out and do what it's gonna do, and we'll go from there. Because you know what, like many people have said, we're all gonna have to put on our pants and go to work regardless. So it is what it is. Tonight, I have, as my guest, I have a guy who is somebody who just epitomizes, when I say pillar in the community, I mean, this guy is literally a pillar in his community. And the crazy thing about it is, like, community, I come from a community, I come from one town. But my guest tonight, he represents more than just one town. He represents a whole area of Florida, if not the whole state of Florida in a sense. I've known MOYO, man, since 1999, no, 2000. I think it's 2000, right around there. So damn, MOYO, almost 21 years, bro, that I've met him. And before I bring him on, I just kind of want to give you, I'm gonna hype him up a little bit. MOYO is somebody who is so welcoming that it's unreal. He talks to anybody, to everybody, always makes time for people, and there's not people like that. If you knew this guy's schedule, you'd be like, dude, if I had a schedule, I'd be like, hey, bro, I can't talk right now. I got to go. But as long as I've known Moyo, he's always made time for, for his people. And that's something that I can't. I mean, you that's not taught. I mean, the guy is just who he is. You know what I mean? So without further ado, those of y'all that are tuning in for the first time all the way from Florida on Moyo's behalf, thank y'all for tuning in. I do this every single Wednesday. Here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, from the comfort of his own home. There he is, Mr. Greg DJ Moyo Burgos. Moyo, how's it going, bro?
Aquí andamos y no nos vamos.
Hey, man.
We got a hurricane.
I know, dude. You know, we were rehearsing, not rehearsing. People are like, dude, they rehearsed. No, we were just going through some things, and you said the hurricane was coming. I was like, a la madre, for real? You're like, yeah, I said, man. So hopefully we don't see Moyo fly off the screen. If so, we know what's going on. If you guys can hear Moyo and you can hear him pretty good, just somebody send me a thumbs up or give me an A-OK. We're still working through getting these technical issues knocked down. I say that almost every week that I have a guest, but we just can't.
I'd like to just start off by saying Happy Veterans Day. God bless each and every one of y'all. Bumper, I'm super proud of you. He called me one day. He's like, Moyo, man, I just started talking on Facebook Live on Wednesdays. We call it Wacky Wednesdays, and next thing you know me, Wacky Wednesday. That's from Hungry Howie's down here in Florida. I don't know.
That's where I got it from, fool.
He said, Hungry Howie's had the $4.99. No, I think it was $4.99 or $3.99, something like that. And so he called me up and he's like, what do you think about equipment? And I started sending him some stuff from the podcast world. And man, one day I see him post up his picture. First, I saw you on an interview from your kitchen. And then I saw the picture you posted up with the equipment looking legit, dog. I was like, oh man, look at Bumper that moved up in the world. I'm so proud of you, bro. I'm so proud of you. Because you have one thing, is you're missing personality desde que nos conocimos. He said that we met in 99, 2000. But in 99, 2000, we got together in a nightclub that I was promoting, one of my first nightclubs that I was promoting at the time. And he came in and started talking to me like he knew me from years back. And dog, that is a gift, my friend.
The music, bro. I still remember, Moyo. I tell people don't believe me. I was like, I went up there. I said, Moyo, do you have this song? He like, nah. Do you have this song? Nah. Who the hell is it? I said, man, if I leave, will they let me come back in? You're like, go ahead. I came back, and back then, fool, we were just talking about this yesterday. There's no digital music, bro. That was all. Hey, Moyo had CDs numbered, bro. Like, hey, you know what I mean?
So tienes el disco?
And having people in the music business here in Texas, I always had pretty new music. So I said, Moyo, let me go grab these. And I came back, and Moyo's like, hey, what are you doing this week? And we talked, and the next thing you know, I'm at Moyo's house eating some bomb ass food, and Moyo's taking my whole disc collection, and he's like, choo 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 choo.
Bootlegging like a mug.
So, those are the days. I mean, you had a disc recorder and but dude, you're right. I mean, right when I met you, bro, you don't, sometimes when you walk up to people, they'll be like, hey dog, what the hell? Who do you think you are? Like, you know what I mean? But you didn't have that vibe, dude, at all, bro, at all. No. And when people ask me, he's like, Moyo? I said, yeah, dude, I know Moyo for a long time, dude. But the thing is, bro, I became friends with you when you were already on that. To me, I think you were already on a next level, bro. I didn't grow up there. I didn't grow up in Central Florida. So, my wife from there, she knew you. She knew you, you guys grew up together. And to hear the stories and then just to hear other people just out of the blue, like, yeah, Moyo DJ'd my backyard party back in, you know what I'm saying? And it was crazy because people knew you. Like, they associated, you heard the word Moyo, and right away it was like, oh, dude, the bomb ass DJ. You know what I mean? Best DJ in the industry. But Moyo, let's talk about you, bro. Are you originally from Florida, or where are you originally from?
Yeah, born and raised in Tampa, Florida. Well, not really. Born in Tampa, but raised out in the sticks, son, with my beautiful people. I was Ruskin. It was a tomato capital of the world, and so we were raised in that area in Ruskin, in a little place called El Campo Verde. And I guess it was verde because of the tomatoes. I mean, I don't know why they called it the green camp duck, but now it's down there. Now there is down there with Casa Bonita where Manny and them live. That all used to be all camps, dog. That used to be all camps.
And when you say camps, you're talking about migrant camps, right?
Migrant camps, yeah, yeah. So my mom's from La Frontera, from Matamoros, Mexico, and my dad's from Puerto Rico. And I don't know if the story is correct. They're probably watching. I love you, mom. I love you, dad. And happy Veterans Day to my dad and my brother. They, I don't know. I don't know if he like gave her a bucket of tomatoes and convinced her to come along with him, and se la robó. And I don't know how it all went down, but that's how they met out in Ruskin.
Wow, dude.
And then
And what's crazy, Mo, is like you've said something that I never even thought about. Your dad's Puerto Rican, and he was working in the fields. That's not a common. I mean, you don't hear about the Puerto Rican people working in the fields. I mean,
you know,
maybe it's just
I
me.
did no, I did a lot of digging because I guess I like the whole history behind it, and I've talked to Pop about it. But you got to think back, way back, who talked English and who didn't. A Puerto Rican was more had been here more time, so I guess the crew lead, I mean, the owner of the farm would rely more on the Puerto Rican hand to hire the Mexican guys. He didn't know the difference. He knew they both spoke Spanish, but he could relate to the Puerto Rican one that spoke English.
Hey, but
So then,
we all know the Spanish is still completely different, dude. And
yeah,
and
no,
that's
but the farmer never knew that.
no, of course. But listening to you, bro, you're like a chameleon. If I put you in a room full of boricuas de volada, your accent comes, and then if I put you with a bunch of raza, it goes away,
Yeah,
and now you're Moyo. So you can play
yo, I
both
had a
sides of the. That's unique, Moyo. You don't meet a lot of half Mexicano and half Puerto Rican people. I mean,
nah, dog. It's like we fight with ourselves. It's like half and half.
so
It's
the old De La Hoya Trinidad fights were not a fun house. It's not in your house. I mean, that was probably not a fight to watch, man.
no, 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 no.
That's crazy. Well, so you grew up there, what in the Waimama Ruskin area?
Yeah, from Waimama. I mean, from Ruskin, then we shot over to Waimama. So yeah, and then we did a lot of traveling, of course, because of the field work, running up and down in agriculture.
So
So
when you
that
say
was something
traveling,
that
what would traveling include? What states would that include?
the big one, I guess, that spent the most time was New Jersey. Like I started working when I was 11 years old, and back then they would let you. I don't know what happened from then to here, but I remember they used to hide us sometimes when people used to come around. They're like, "Hey, get in the truck."
Man, that's crazy. I mean, and to imagine that life you had as a young kid, Moyo, and to see where you're at today, I mean that's an accomplishment, dude. And you know, you nobody handed you anything. That's for sure, dude. That I
Oh
can
no,
tell you.
I think more than anything, I want to give the big props goes out to my parents, and I think like all our kids, as parents, we need to be right there next to them. One thing that my little brother taught me was is like be by your kids all the time. Like I remember he had his kids. He's like, boy, you just don't know when you have these kids, when you have these kids, and when I did, when I have my own kids, I understood. I understood how important it was.
Yeah, my mom always used to say, "Vas a ver, cabrón. Vas a ver cuando tienes." And every time
Las vas a
they,
pagar.
yes, bro. And then you they do something, and it's like you get angry at them, you scold them, do whatever, and you walk away, and you can just see your mom or hear your mom in the background.
You turn into your parents, dog.
Yeah,
Totally,
bro.
totally.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Moyo, so growing up there in Central Florida, dude, and having a diverse background, your parents, I met your mom and dad. Your dad is a huge car guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean the guy's a car junkie, and your mom, uh, dude. I told you this yesterday, bro. I'm just thinking about it right now makes my mouth water. I'm not even lying. But I'll be honest with you, dude. I never had arroz con candules until I went to your house. We were gonna do a quinceanera, or we were gonna do something. You're like, "Hey, come, we'll eat real quick before we roll out or whatever." And your mom had made like a fresh pot of arroz con candules, and she served me, and then I'm looking, I'm like, "Yo, Moyo, what is?" And you're looking at me like, "What do you mean? What is that?" So, dude, I ate, and so candules are what, pigeon peas, right?
Yeah,
The
pigeon peas.
pigeon peas, and dude, hands down, dude, nothing like. I mean, that rice is bomb. That I mean, I
It's
could
crazy.
just eat
It's crazy.
that,
Yeah.
straight up by itself.
And
But
she's Mexican.
that's what I'm saying, dude. That's what's crazy. I tell people all
Hey,
the time.
don't ask her for the recipe though.
Oh,
It's all
she
it's
she ain't gonna
all
give it to
pam
you.
pam pam. She measures it with the spoon. No, she'll try to tell you, but it's all like this, that, this, and here. You measure it with the spoon right here. That's how much water it needs right here. It's hilarious.
All our people are like that, Moyo. There's no. I don't think any Hispanic lady in any kitchen could give somebody a thing. They're like un poquito this and un poquito de
Yeah,
that. And
un chin
there's no
chin de
way. You know what
esto.
I mean? It's all to taste. It's all to taste. Um, but no, dude, and just your parents were so welcoming and everything. Like I said, I mean, your whole family, bro, your whole family. And then the weird thing about it being Veterans Day today, I mean, we cannot not talk about Gordo. Um, when I started
You
talking to you,
met me when right the day was it the night he was leaving?
no, I don't know if he was leaving or he had just signed up.
No, he was leaving.
He was he leaving or
Yeah, like
no? Because
11
I
that
got to talk
night.
to him. No,
Yeah, maybe a week. I want to say it was the same night he had to go or the following week. It was
yeah,
like
it
real,
might have
like
been
a
like a
hair.
week or two before, but I mean, how things work. I walk in and like, what do you do here? And I was like, well, I'm a Marine. He's like, Marine? What the hell? My brother joined the Marines. What are you doing here? And I'm like, well, I'm stationed in MacDill, blah, 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 blah. And
Yeah.
we kicked it, bro. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it was just meant to be, dude. It was meant to be. I mean, Moyo's one of my compadres, and that dude is, I mean, you're right here, but you're hands down a gentleman, bro, at all times. And that's for real. Moyo, you growing up there, and like I said, we're talking about you growing up there in Florida, dude. What was, you said you used to work in the fields and stuff, but on a day off, like just chilling, having parents of two different, very, very different cultures. Literally, I mean, yeah, we both speak Spanish, but it's literally two different cultures in a sense. How was that, dude? Like music wise, food wise, just
Mm.
their modos. I mean, how was that?
I, it's kind of funny. First, I'm black as hell, and growing up in a Mexican neighborhood, I ain't predominantly. We had black people, but they were like down in the corner, so I never would see them. They took the first time I went to Guamama Elementary, I met my first black guy, and I'm like in kindergarten. I couldn't understand him. He couldn't understand me. He thought I was weird. I thought he was weird. So I mean, pretty much all my elementary, I was growing up fighting because these guys didn't understand me. And so then I'd get the reverse racism. Mexicans are looking at me like, this guy's weird. So the if I pause a lot, it's because of the delay. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
No, but then that was kind of growing up with that, and then I had a you don't know that you don't know English, you don't know that you don't know the Spanish correctly. All these things are different as you're growing up, and then I didn't know that I was dark skinned, so I kind of just did my thing as I went along. I thought it was natural. I finally met like black people that got along with me in middle school, dog. Like literally before then, there was none of that. It
But you
was
think
it
more of it
was
was because your first language was Spanish and not English?
yeah, totally because they thought I was weird. They totally thought I was weird. It
Man,
was it was a really it
that's
was really
wild.
tough. Yeah, I got one good buddy of mine. We were about 16 years old. His name's Bert, and we had a tortilleria. And so Bert would come over. He was like one of my mom's kids. And he loved the tortilleria because he'd get fresh tortillas and he'd get barbacoa. So one day he comes over and he's like, "Yo, can I get a pound of that barbacoa?" Or he call it barbecue. So I brought him over the pound. He's sitting in his car, and my man's couldn't. He's like, yo, Greg. So what exactly is in here, man? I'm like, well, Bert, you see the white that stuff there? That's cow brains, and the kind of purplish stuff there, that's the eyes. My dude, he hated me, dog. I lost a friend, dog. He was so pissed. He thought it was like a practical joke. He's like, man, this is wrong. Why would you even try to feed me this? Man, it's the funniest thing. I'm like, yo, it's a delicacy. It's a delicacy.
Oh, but if you would have never told him,
Oh
that
no,
dude would have been
no,
grubbing that.
he had been tearing it up for almost a year, dog.
Oh, dude, that I mean, that's anybody. I get friends all the time. I'll serve them a taco de lengua or tripas, and they'll eat
I
it.
can't do
Oh,
tripa,
it's
dog.
pretty good, whatever. But the minute you tell them what it is, they're done. They're done.
Yeah, no.
So Moyo, was your culture / accent more Mexicano or more Boricua?
It's so bad, bro. Like, I had the handyman come over the other day. He was a handy, not so handy man. He comes over, and like I was talking to him, I think in a neutral accent. I mean, because I was just on the radio today and I talk Mexican. But he comes over, and that shit just switched. He like, pero ahora estás hablando puertorriqueño. ¿Cómo es esto? I'm like, I don't know. It just happens. I assimilate.
Damn, dude. No, I mean, dude, it's got to be a beautiful thing that you can do both of those things, man. And Moyo, how many brothers and sisters did you grow up with?
Well, we have a nice large family, but our immediate is my brother Albert, and then my sister Martita, and then I have Tato, who lives here in Florida, down the street. He works with my dad. Uh, then I have Maria and Cole. They're up north, so it's about six of us total.
I got you. I got you.
Unless I'm missing one somewhere in there.
Mira,
Dad,
check it out.
¿Qué dice Manny? Oh yeah, no, and hey, listen, I started radio. Shout out to Manny. I started radio when before it was 24-hour radio. I used to have a little program that I used to go on there and do for free. And it was just a love for the music. I used to go do this program. And my mom used to listen to me, and she used to call me because I'd be tearing that Spanish up, dog. I'd be in there talking about, instead of 1 o'clock, instead of la una, your boy was saying la una. And I still got to watch myself. I don't know if it's that I'm deaf or what, but like I'll say the age. Like I'll be killing stuff. I'll be killing stuff.
Here in Texas, man, Spanglish is like it's the third language. I mean, and it's not even just Mexicanos or what I mean, Latinos down here in South Texas, man. I mean, you could talk to an Anglo guy that grew up down here, and he grew up with all he knew was Mexican people. So when he speaks English, you don't even know that he's white. I mean, he could call you on the phone and you think you're talking to Jose Gomez when you're really not. You're talking to Ron Smith or whatever. It's crazy. Moyo, and then growing up with your mom and dad is one thing. Them teaching you both of their cultures. What music did you gravitate to, or did your mom overtake the house? Because usually that's what happens. Whatever the woman says, that the husband's going to be, happy wife, happy life, and they're going to leave it at that. You know what I mean?
Man, the music is real interesting because we would go up north, and I had family that lived in Jersey, and my sister Jasmine, Maria, and my older brother, they would be bumping like hip hop, and I would listen to freestyle music and hip hop, and then at home, I was listening to grupos like Liberación, Tigres, and this is all the stuff my mom was playing. Caminantes,
Bookies.
Bookies. I remember Ídolos del Pueblo, the cassette from Los Tigres del Norte. My first cassette, I can still remember. My mom's gonna laugh, but I remember it was my birthday, And the first cassette I ever got was Menudo. It was Menudo. I was like, oh,
with Ricky Martin.
I don't know if it was with or without though, because I never paid attention who was on in the group.
Bro,
And I
when I saw
remember when
Menudo come out, I couldn't. I said, why would somebody want to name themselves after a delicious food, bro?
they didn't know. They didn't
Yeah,
know.
but I didn't get that. Menudo's a mix. It's like a mix. It's like, it's just it's a mixture. I mean, the proper.
Yeah.
The
Well, in Puerto Rican, Menudo means change.
Yeah, well, there you go. Change.
So way back then it was So no, like change in your pocket. Menudo. It was the menudo was in your pocket.
So that's why. Yeah.
It might have been that. Like, why would they be a dish of sopitas? So it's like no.
Hey,
But that was my first cassette.
and I wanted to know if so back to that question, which music did you favor?
That was it. I was in the Campo Verde. I mean, in the Campos up north. And so when I get in the car with Dad would have Puerto Rican music playing. And I remember my first salsa. I was 11 years old or so. And as a matter of fact, I told him the story the other day. I was like, yo, Dad, so I'm in the car with you, and I'm listening. He had a 1988 F-150. It had a real nice sound system in it. And he's bumping a guy named Tommy Olivencia. And the song was Lobo Domesticado. Y'all about to get educated. So I'm in the truck, and I'm listening to this song, and we're driving into the house. And it was, when you're little, you don't really understand what you're listening to or whatever. But like some things you'll catch like a riff of music, and you're like, damn, that's catchy.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to this Lobo Domesticado, and the song's real cool. I can't sing worth a shit, but it's like, ooh, Lobo Domesticado. And the song's a jam. Like, I'm like, this song is nice. And I'm just a kid, And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take that cassette. So, I deboed his tape. So I literally took his cassette. He probably never saw it again. And I became a total fan of this Tommy Olivencia guy. I didn't know he was Puerto Rican or Mexican. I didn't know what was. I just knew what it was, and it was salsa. And then on the Mexican side, I remember Los Tigres del Norte, Mami, playing the cassettes. And one day we're inside the camp in the cafeteria. And they're watching. There was like movie night for all the workers. And I'm sitting there watching movie night, and I see the guys on the screen, and they're singing La Banda del Carro Rojo. And that's a song de los Tigres. And I'm like, oh, shit. That's the cassette. That's the song. That's the music from the cassette that my mom be playing. And that's just in the movies, and they're right there. And the song is about the movie. That was a corrido. My first corrido, we were like bugging. I was just like, this is amazing. This is incredible. I thought I had discovered something incredible.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like both influences. And then we had the family party. And I don't know whose idea it was, but it's like, MOYO, toca la música. So I would go and I'd be putting on the cassettes one after the other, while everybody was dancing and having a good time at it. So that's all I can remember really was the family parties and me being able to listen to the music that they all had. And I remember when I'd go up north, I had the whole urban side. My sister was listening to all the jams up there. So when she lived up there. So when I go up there, first thing I'd ask, hey, what are they bumping out here? I heard LL Cool J when I was up there for the first time, The Quiet Storm when I was up there. So, I had all these influences. And when I started DJing, I wanted to DJ hip hop. I thought that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to mix it. Yeah, but I lived in Waimama, and
no, I mean, and what we're gonna get to later on in your story is, we're touching on music because, as I told you before we talked before, when you say MOYO, right away in your neck of the woods, it's automatically associated with music. It is. But
I hope y'all don't mind, but I'm eating my oranges.
You do. Florida oranges, dog. You trying to stay healthy? You promoting the state of Florida, the Sunshine State?
I'm trying to. They're probably from California.
So you're saying at parties, that's what kind of got you into music and things. And like I said, people know you as DJ Moyo. Like I hardly nobody ever says, "Oh, Moyo." No, they're like, they always got to throw DJ Moyo in there. Like that's the name. It's legit.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that when I started to hear your story and then now that I kind of like moved away and just, you know, touch bases with you every now and then, and you know, all my wife's family, they all still live in the Ruskin, Waimama area, and Brandon and Riverview, and that's what's unique. So like for my viewers that are watching here from Texas, you've never been to Central Florida. What I was saying earlier about, you know, here we associate with a city or you associate with a town. Over there, it's kind of like living in the valley. That's what you can associate to most. You know, in the valley, how it's just a line in the dirt, and you're in another town, you're in another town, you're in a town. But it's literally one big, huge community. And Moyo, I'm gonna tell you, dude. When I got to Florida, I've said this story before on one of my other shows. When I got to Florida, dude, I want to tell you really quick is this quick story on how I ended up in your face and inside that nightclub. I had got into an argument and I left the house, which I lived on MacDill Air Force Base, and I went down Del Mabry. And the only thing that I was comfortable with was Del Mabry, West Shore, what's the road over there? West Shore?
Yeah, West Shore.
Yeah, West Shore. So just that area, like I wouldn't go past Raymond James Stadium, everything that way.
No me vayas a perder.
Yeah, that was it, bro. Like if it wasn't on Del Mabry, fool, like I wasn't messing with it. And you got to remember, this was before GPS, before Google, before, you know what I mean? We didn't have those things. And so anyway, I'm going off track. I'm driving, and I bumped the radio. For some reason, I hit the radio, and it goes to AM. and I'm listening to Ramon Ayala's song, and I'm in Tampa, Florida. Because my idea of Florida was Caribbean Latinos, like no, there's no Mexicanos here. You know what I mean? Like our culture's in Texas and Southwest United States. It's not over there. Well, dude, I start hearing the Ramon Ayala song, and I notice that it's on AM. And I say to myself, you know what? I'm gonna stay still, bro, because it's probably coming from Texas over the Gulf of Mexico on the wave, and I'm catching it, bro. I'm catching the song. And then I hear someone in the background, bam, bam, bam. Hey, we're live from Ybor City at Spurs nightclub. Come by, ka. And I'm like, what is that? So I pull into a gas station. I tell the dude, where is Ybor City? And the guy looks at me like, bro, are you serious? I'm like, bro, I don't know. Like, I'm being real. Like, I don't know. All right, you're going to go here, go there. So then I drive up, and there's a white van with two wheels on a curb with the lights spinning. It was 760 AM, right? That was the radio station?
Yeah, La Mera Mera.
La Mera Mera. So, and then I see these people, Moyo. You had people lined up outside around the corner, dude. Like, around and when I started hearing the music, you know, I heard a little bit of Tejano. I'm like, yo, this is not just like Mexicano. And I started looking, I said, whoa, these people look like me, bro. They're like, you know what I mean? They're Chicanos, they're American. And again, you got to imagine in my head, I'm thinking that doesn't exist there. I had no idea.
Twilight Zone, de madre.
Yes, bro. So, dude, I park my car, bro. I hear the music. You're jamming badass songs, like boom, one after another. I said, dude, I'll wait in this line. I don't care how long. I get in, I get my Budweiser, dude. I sit down, and I'm just having a blast, just listening to you jam. And finally, I'm like, all right, man, well, he's got to be playing some of this. I think Solido had just came out. I think Palomino's had some. Garcia Brothers were just starting to kick and stuff. And I went up there, and you were like, nah. So all right, well, I'll be back. And I brought you those things. You're like, okay, and that's how we what do you call it? But that's how I ended up there, dude. If I wouldn't have got in an argument that night, I would have never ever left MacDill Air Force Base. And you know, imagine if I wouldn't even have hit the station. You know?
Yeah.
And there you were, dude. So, you know, that was my little story of how I ended up there with you, and just opened my eyes to just a whole different, like, we're everywhere. You know what I mean? And talking to you, you were like, boom. And then when I looked at you, I'm like, yo, dog, that fool ain't Mexican, bro. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to remember what hairdo you were styling, bro. I think you were just
Oh no, yeah, this is the first time in my life I got long
no,
hair.
no,
I've
but I
always
think
had
you just had a
fades.
fade. You just
I
had a
always had
fade
fades,
and
yeah.
like a little edged up, and then we kicked in and started talking. So yeah, that's my little story how I ended up on Moyo in front of Moyo's face. Moyo, so you as a teen, what was the earliest you can remember where you said, "Hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna play music for people other than my family and maybe make some money."
You know what happened? I was my brother. You remember Curtis Mathis?
Um,
Curtis Mathis. They used to rent like the movies and they equipment, like audio equipment. Back in the day, we didn't have a VCR. Like we it didn't exist. I didn't know
I
what a
don't
VCR
remember that,
was.
bro.
And I'm a kid. Listen, I'm a kid, and my big brother comes in and he brings in this monster. It was big, dog. It was like this, like, and he puts it on top of the TV. And he's like, we can watch movies with this. And I'm like, damn, we can. First movie he brought, there was two of them. One was a comedy, was Delirious with Eddie Murphy, and the second one was Beat Street. And Beat Street was about a bunch of hip hoppers, and one of them was a DJ.
Breakdancing,
Yeah,
huh?
and the break dancing and the spray painting and that bug hit me when I watched that movie. I was about 13 years old, and I was like, "That's what I want to do. I want to do that." But we lived out in the sticks. Like, there's nothing out here. Like, where are you gonna DJ? What
What
is
are you?
going? Where the like? Well, I'm 13. And I'm like, yeah, but I knew I wanted to do this,
Right.
and so I carried that like forever in my like. I had audio equipment in my room. I had speakers piled up since I was a kid in my room. Um, and I remember when I was about, oh, ¿sabes lo que me pegó? This is really funny. He, my, I come and told my dad, I said, yo, dad, I had a job, right? I had my job, I had my truck, and I wanted to put a dancing bed on it. You know, it was with the hydraulics.
The mini truck, and you were mini trucking, dog. You were
I was mini
troqueando
trucking.
before troqueando was cool.
You already know. So I was like, I'm gonna do this, right? And my dad's like, nah, you can't do that. I was like, why? He's like, uh, first of all, you don't have a garage. Do you know that you have to have a battery charger for all those batteries you're gonna have on that thing? It's like it's a big waste of money. And I must have had money and it was burning a hole in my pocket. But I was like, okay, I'm not gonna. And I wanted to go to Texas, to Brownsville, where my family's at.
Right.
I have my tío there, and I was like, my tío Lore, he's into lowriders. He's gonna help me do it. Well, meanwhile, I'm working at the school, and there's a school dance, and I go to chaperone the school dance. And I'm probably about 19, 20 at the time. And I go to chaperone the school dance, and they had this guy, this little DJ guy with some glasses, and he had it was like a little unit. It was a Denon dual CD player, and then he had an amp rack, couple speakers, and a microphone on a cable. And the kids were just standing around. But I was sitting behind there while I was working, and I was looking, and I was watching them the whole night. I'm like that because at that time I would make cassettes. I would record cassettes with my little audio equipment. But now I was watching what he had.
Right.
At the end of the night, I bump into him in the parking lot. I'm like, "Hey, bud," I said, "You were awesome today." I said, "Nadie bailó, but you were awesome," because I enjoyed the equipment. I enjoyed the equipment so much. I was like, this. It looks so cool that he was doing that. And I said, I really always wanted a DJ. And he's like, "You should." I'm like, "Oh, how?" He said, "Is that your truck?" I said, "Yes." He's like, "Well, listen, I'll get you the equipment, I'll get you the music, and all you got to do is go and do the party. I'll teach you how to do it, and I'll give you $125." I'm like, "Damn, like that?" And he's like, "Yeah, especially with the truck, it'd be awesome." He said, "The only thing that if you quit, you can't DJ in 5 counties for 5 years." I'm like, "Oh." And I ain't stupid. So I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I got his card and I left that night thinking that's not a good deal. I was like, well, because I knew my audience wasn't gonna
Yeah.
be his audience. I'm like, so why would that be a good deal? So then I went home and I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to do. I went and told my mom, I went and told my dad, and oh, what was it? De los macizos. Oh, entonces I went home and I told I think I told mom first because mom would tell me the story too. And she'll say, I, and mom and my brother Gordo, they're all the same. They're all the same. Boy, I used to come up with an idea and they shoot that joker down real quick. They're like, "That's
Negative
loco."
Nancy's ya madre.
Yeah. My mom be like, "That's local." I was like, "Oh man, I can't say nothing around here." And so I could understand the hydraulics on the thing. All right,
Right.
that was a little bit, but I was like, "Yo, listen, mom, I'm gonna buy it." Well, but look how it sounds. We live in the sticks, right? I'm telling her that we're gonna buy this expensive ass audio equipment, and that if it don't work out, at least I have a real nice sound system. So I think she thought I felt bad. I was kind of used to the whole thing, but she goes and tells my pop, she's like, yo, Tito, so I told your son he was crazy because he wanted this, that, and the other. She's like, I think you should, either go with him and check him out. So Pop, he went with me to look at the equipment, and he's like the guy that you go to when you need to go to the car dealership.
Right. Yeah.
He's the one you take with you to make sure you get the good deal. See, so that dad went with me as I went to go look at all this equipment. So we ended up getting two speakers. We had the amp. I bought a dual CD player. It was state of the art back then. And so I bring all that to the little cuartito that my dad had in the back. He had built it in the back and called it the penthouse. So we're sitting there in the penthouse with all this audio equipment. And Pop's like, so here's the microphone. I'm like, oh, and they gave us the microphone for free, Bumper. And
What'd you
he
say?
gives
I
me the
don't need
microphone.
that.
Here, say, yeah. He said, here, go ahead. I'm like, oh, no, I'm good. Well, you hear my voice. I sound like a chipmunk. And so back then it was even worse. Come on, like think about it now. It's like, yo, this man's voice sounds like a chip. Like I used to answer the phone. They'd be like, little girl, pass your mom. So when I'd be in the drive-through, igual, they thought I was the kid talking.
Yeah.
Or even now, I take my kids and they laugh when they think I'm a female. Yes, ma'am, just drive up. And the kids will look at me and laugh, yo. So, we're in there, and I was like, "No, Dad, no, 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 no. The name is DJ, disc jockey." And he's like, "Well, your ass is gonna make no money." I'm like, "What you mean?"
Oh.
So, so we go, Fidel and me go to our first parties, and I remember we were playing for a homeboy of mine named Eloy, and it was Eloy Jr.'s first birthday party. If they're listening, what's up, y'all? Listen, so Eloy comes up. He's like, "Hey, Moyo, um, will you say happy birthday? We're about to cut the cake." Uh, I'm like, "Yeah, man, sure. Here's the mic." So he could say it.
Like I'm not doing. I'm just here to play
He's
music,
like,
bro.
he's like, "No, man, you go ahead and say it." I'm like, "No, no, no, I don't talk on the mic."
Yo, we paying
My
you.
man,
You talking on the
yo,
mic,
I'm
dog?
like, I'm like, I couldn't do it, dog. That's like I was playing good music. That's all we need. Nobody danced. It was the worst, the worst, the worst. And I was like, at the end of the party, I was like, it just didn't feel like it went the way I wanted to go.
Right.
And then I talked to, it was Eloy's wife and another friend of ours named Angie that we worked after school because I worked at the school at the time.
Uh huh.
And so I would volunteer afterwards to go work with the migrant families or the students for tutoring. So I would go and volunteer. So I'm on the bus and we're talking about the party, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it was great." And she goes, "Yeah, the only thing nobody danced." And I was like, "I know, ain't that weird?" And Angie says, "You know what? We had a family party, and we hired a, a DJ. It was a white guy, and he had none of our music. He said that man done come over there and started playing games with everybody, and everybody had the time of their life. It don't matter that he didn't have the music. And he said everybody had a good time.
Yeah, he
Y
got
eso se me
everybody
quedó en la
moving.
mente. Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I took my butt home. I started thinking. I was like, I think I'm gonna have to say something. And I think it was my sister's birthday and my godson's birthday at the same time. We celebrated in Mama, and I was like, you know what? We got candy bags. I had games planned, and bro, as soon as people started coming, the chipmunks started talking, and I started talking, and I just couldn't stop, and it just kept
You
going,
got
and it was
comfortable.
like, yeah, I got comfortable with it, and I was giving away. First, I started with the candy. I was like, hey, come get some candy, come get some candy, come get some candy, and I felt good with the candy thing, and then little by little, bro, that party went until the early morning. The whole neighborhood was up in my white mama yard.
Yo, oh man, check this comment out, Moyle.
I No, you
Dang.
do not. Oh, yes, you do. I don't want to see
I
it.
want
That
to
was
see it.
it. That was Eloy's
Yo,
birthday
so
party.
so we went from people coming up to get candy from you to you freaking with a mic and a big old bottle of tequila, giving the
It was
same
the same kids.
the kids that wanted candy.
It was the same kids.
5 years later, they're sitting there getting tequila from you
Yo,
from the
yes,
top of a stage.
that's what happened exactly, Bumper. That was just talking to one of them the other day. I like when I started doing parties, y'all were 13, 14 years old.
Right.
By the time I ended up in the club was 4 or 5 years later. Now they're 18, 19. Now they're going ham. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey Moyle,
It's
so
crazy.
you mentioned in what you were just saying, you mentioned you used to tutor migrant kids.
Hmm.
And was that something that somebody offered you, or is that something that you heard about and like, hey man, I got to do this because you knew what it was like to be on the other end, or how,
Nah,
how was
but
that?
I I I was a migrant student myself. And when you're growing up, you don't know these things. You're kind of just going through it. You don't understand why you're doing the things you do. I know I started working when I was 11 years old with my pop. He used to take me. I used to work in the packing houses. And one thing that bit me was the money bug. Like, and he used to hate that. He used to say, "Nope, I don't want to take you with me because you're gonna like the money, and then you're not gonna want to be educated." And that's exactly what happened, bro. Exactly. So that the delay keeps getting me. I'm sorry. But then when I remember we would come here from up north, but it was always late, bro. So like when you're a migrant student, you would go up north, you'd work with your family. My dad used to have to send, family members with us to come down here to try to get back in school at the right time. And some years we'd come later than most kids start. So migrant students come in and they're
And you're already
disoriented.
behind too. On top of that,
Yeah,
you coming in
on
late.
top of that, yeah. And then your English is all tore up. You just don't know.
But that's a
That's why people
struggle,
thought you
dude.
were. Yeah, it was the big struggle, and the migrant program, that's one good thing about it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't fit the description of a migrant student either because most kids look Spanish, Mexican. Like, so I was overlooked a lot of times. But in high school, they caught me. The migrant program caught me. And I remember I bumped into a man named Mr. C. And he's the one that kind of put me back on track. Him and a guidance counselor put me back on track. And I remember talking with him, and I think it was my high school year. He's like, Burgos, so what you gonna do? And I was like, well, Mr. C, I think I'm gonna come back here and take your job. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah. I said, I think I want to be an advocate. I think I want to help kids like me. That, well, at that time, I understood what had happened. I had dropped out of high school because I just didn't see the need for it. But there is a need. As soon as I dropped out, I recognized that life is a little bit different, and I sure enough went back because of it. But I think at that time is when I knew that there was a need for it, and I went into social work. That's when I went to USF and I got my bachelor's degree in social work.
That's, I mean, and that's kind of what I was going with earlier to the viewers. Like, um, music is one part of Moyo's life, but I really love the other part, bro. The part where you're constantly giving back, and I think the music and you getting into with the music, just DJing quinceaneras and backyard parties and stuff, and then it led you into the club scene, and then radio, your own radio show, but all those things is it puts you on a platform, and now you have this platform, and instead of just using your platform for your own gain, that's what I love about you. You've taken that platform and you used it in all means that you can to help people.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
that's probably one of my proudest things is like when you're able to, one of the hurricane seasons where we had the earthquake in Mexico and a real massive hurricane that really messed up our people down south. It was really devastating, and I want to just give props to that voice that I've been able to create and connect people with. My man, we had so many donations, and we didn't accept money because I didn't want to be responsible for it. But we had trailers loads of goods that we were able to take to Naples, Fort Myers, and Immokalee. We ended up giving a lot of it to the church too. That's probably one of my proudest moments is being able to help in times like this. And that's why when you're always like, there's a hurricane, are they going to need me for anything? You always got to be kind of ready for that. It's a responsibility that comes along with it.
yeah, I mean, and that's the way you take, because be real. There's some people out there, they get a little fame, and they kind of, it's almost like they forget where they come from. You always hear, when you get famous or you do this, don't ever forget your roots. Don't ever forget where you come from.
Yeah.
And that's huge in the music industry. That's huge in the movie industry. But you never forget your roots. And I think the reason that you never forget your roots is because you're still living in your roots.
Oh
You you
yeah,
you
no, I
you,
think
you still live, and you still breathe. It's there in front of you every day. It's not like you've moved away. I mean, you might have moved to a different town, or have a nicer home, things like that. But for the most part, your fan base, your followers, your people there, it's there. You know what
yeah,
I
no,
mean?
especially in times like this with COVID, it it's really humbling because it brings you back to where you were. They closed everything down in March. And you calculate March to now, I don't know, 6, 7 months. And for them to slip out the rug under everybody, especially like I'm in the hospitality business. So you're talking about club businesses, quinceañeras, weddings, everything got
Canceled.
my bartenders are without a work. Every that was an ugly 6, 7 months, and who knows, we're coming back to it where it might happen again. I had a good friend of mine teach me something very, very, because when I was young, I couldn't think of nothing else. I could think of just that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. DJs look at me as a DJ, but it's really not just DJing. It's a business. I'm talking from being a promoter, and that's asking people to come and spend a night with you and dance with you and have a good time with you. Please, please, please. And that's how I earn my money. You have to respect that. You have to love them for that. I think a lot of the battles are with people is that they don't appreciate that. That's a big part. I appreciate everybody that walks into any place that I'm at. Yeah, I can't. It's really tough for you to be that person that's puts their nose in the air. I think to me it's the most important part is for people to always see like Moyo. You can always put your arm around Moyo, mask or no mask. I don't care.
I hear that. I hear
Yeah.
that. Moyo, and all the success that you've had, dude. Um, with the community, with your own personal businesses that you've done. Can you remember a time maybe where your mom or dad, like just a conversation that sits with you, that you could share with the viewers that,
Yeah,
where your
definitely.
mom just looks at you and it's like, sit down. It's got to be so orgulloso. Like they have to be so proud of who you are and what you stand for. And do you remember, like, either with your, or both? I mean, if you can talk on both, but just something that, sometimes when you're having a bad day or something's not going right, and you can think back to that conversation and be like, man, this
Yeah,
is what my parents
I
think of
think
me.
I think success is here and here. Um, because the radio guy, the guy in the clubs, and it's fun. It feels good, and but I like one guy told me, he said, Moyo, he was observing me one night, and this was in one of the nightclubs, and he's looking at me, and I'm like really worried because I'm looking at security, I'm doing this, I'm looking at that, and so I don't always wear the smile. I try to always have a smile, but sometimes that smile goes away because I'm thinking of something else. And he comes over, he calls me over, right? And he's having a good time, but I think he was observing me, and he says, Moyo, ¿verdad que de fama no se vive? And bro, that hit me like with a bag of bricks. I'm like,
Hey, say it in English, Moyle, for all the English viewers. We got people all over the world watching.
when he told me, he goes, isn't it true that you can't live from fame? And that's so true to me because it's like everyone can know you and you not have a dollar in your pocket.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? And anyone that knows me knows that I've never been flashy, dog. Like what I'm wearing now, I wore it all day. Like I only have a little bit of respect for like when I do a wedding or a quinceañera, and I'll dress up then. But I'm
Nah,
really simple. Like I'm really into sandals. Like my you might say my straight '88, the white horse. I've
dog.
always been a guy that I'm very simple with my vehicles. I'm not that kind of guy.
So I'm gonna stop you right there and do, because this is Wacky Wednesday, bro. We can get wacky and get crazy. You brought it up. Yeah, I said I'm not gonna tell the story unless he brings up the white horse. So, guy, it was, what was it? A Moyo on 88 what?
An '88 celebrity that I got from my dad.
And yeah, an 88 celebrity. Hey, hold up, with a trailer hitch, right?
They didn't have a trailer hitch. No,
The
you're thinking of
white
my
the white
truck.
car didn't have a trailer hitch.
No, I hope not. That'd be ghetto.
What did we used to pull the what do you used to pull the trailer with?
That was with the truck. That was with my Chevy.
Yeah, the little Chevy. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I think we were in your car. We had to have been in your car though. I want to say it was a car. Anyway, Moyo drags
No,
me to this.
you're talking about Wachula?
Yes. So you
Okay,
dragged me
that's
to
the
this town,
truck.
bro. We're
That was in the
literally.
truck.
It's like Children of the Corn. Like, and Moyo's like, "Hey, we're gonna drive." I said, "Dang, Moyo, we're tired." Like it was probably like 3:30 in the morning, and
We
we're
ain't had no
driving.
hotel money.
And Moyo was like, "Mom, we your lights went out in the car.
The alternator was bad.
Something was bad in that sucker." We pull into this gas station in the middle of this cornfields, and this is what I'm envisioning because it's a very a vivid memory. And we
Shout out
pull
to
in, and
Wachula.
Moyo's walking around the store like looking around. I'm like, "Dog, let's get your coffee, whatever the hell you can do. Let's go. Like I want to get home, you know." And Moyo, I want you guys to imagine, you know those flashlights that you put for like hurricanes, like that has a handle. It's like a big old box. Those big old box things,
So with
flashlights.
that big battery.
Right. So Moyo buys 2 of them in this gas station. The only 2 that were in there. And we get out to the car. I'm like, Moyo, we can't drive. We ain't got no lights. He goes, we got lights right here, Papa. We got freaking. So I want you guys to imagine I'm half asleep. Moyo's hitting me in my chest like every 30 seconds because he's driving and I got the light. He's like, just keep it on the stripe and we're good. So Moyo's driving this car.
We were just hoping a deer wouldn't come by. You're all the way, dog. About an
Dog, we
hour and
drove
15
all
minutes.
the way
Wasn't it?
back to Plant City just like
Oh
that,
no, yeah,
bro.
it was
I will
longer than an
never
hour. Yeah,
forget that shit. And you were like, I mean, it didn't even phase you. You didn't even like scratch your head and think about it. Like, nah, we this is what we're gonna roll with. We got it. We'll make it there. So
yeah.
that's a
Bumper.
story.
One of my earliest memories of Pop when I was learning how to drive, I was probably about 14, 15 years old. And he's like, hey, come with me to Arcadia. And I'm like, okay. And he was going to get a Chivo. You know what a Chivo is? It's like a it's like a bus decapitated. They take the top off
Oh shit, dog! I
and they
thought you
put
said
a
like, I thought you went to go get a goat, homie.
no, like it was a full like it's that's why I said it was machinery. It's like a bus. They cut it and they put this big dumper in the back, like a hydraulic dumper,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has like this crane that picks up the tub of oranges and dumps the oranges in it. So it's this like mini monster truck kind of thing.
Okay.
It has no roof but it's a body of a bus. You gotta look this thing up. Well, anyway, my dad was driving one of those from Arcadia to where we were living at the time, which was probably about an hour and 20 minutes away or whatever. And my man, he's like, follow me in the truck. I'm going to take this home or to the packing house. I don't remember where we were going. And I remember it was cold as hell. Like cold. And this thing that had no windshield. And my dad drove this thing from Arcadia, which is farther than Wachula we were at, all the way down to Waimama, Ruskin area. And it was cold, bro. And my dad's like, just trucking it, dog, trucking it. And it's a windy, and when it's windy and cold, and
No,
I mean, you
yeah,
got no
no, and
windshield.
no window.
My dude, no windows or windshield. Like this is bad. And I don't, I think when you're a kid, all this stuff stays with you because what we did that night ain't shit
Right.
to what my dad did. So-
No, I
and I
hear
see
you.
all the things that he did for us, and I'm like, hey, look, that ain't nothing.
I'll never forget that. Dude. I always tell Weecha that story. She always laughs. Um, hey, Moyo, and so you were kind of going along your story here. What I guess we veered from the question. So back to my original question. Do you remember a time
The
that
conversation.
where you had a
Yeah.
conversation with your mom and dad and they just kind of like sat you down and been like, "Hey, you're doing good things," or anything? I
Well,
mean, just any conversation where
I
you
think
were.
it goes back to Pop. Yeah, that day with the microphone. It might have been that same day, but he said something that stuck with me, and I think that's what has helped me with all the people that I've taught. If anybody asks me anything, I'm forthcoming to help them with anything that I can. Many of the DJs in the area, my buddy Jesse, who's like my little big brother, I call him, over in Carolina. He chimed in there with the first video. I, I he told me something that day when we were in the little penthouse, and he was like, "Hey, listen, now I don't know if he knew that I was gonna do good things, or he was just giving me a life lesson, but he told me, he said, never forget that somebody will always be faster, better looking, generally better than anything that you can do. Someone will always come along and do it better." And to me, that was like, I mean, it was just a short, small conversation that my father probably don't even remember. To me, it was just very important. And I was like, and I think that's what, throughout all this time, is what keeps me right. So,
That I mean, that happens, dude. Something small. You as you walk away, you don't really think about it, but you think about it later on, and it hits you like a ton of rocks. Like, hey, man, that was it. That was a
Yeah.
moment where, maybe your dad had a vision, bro. He knew
No,
that.
but I share that with everybody. Everybody. I get a little choked up because I fear that he might be listening. But when nobody's listening, that's the first thing out of my mouth with people is that lesson to me. Because I think like anyone that comes up and says, Moyo, I want to learn how to DJ, or Moyo, I want to do what you do, or I teach it. I teach it because I think it's the biggest gift you can give. And if they can make something out of it, if they can take that and make a living. I've been extremely lucky. My manager, Julio, he tells me all the time. He's like, Moyo, use DJs don't end up owning clubs. That's not something that DJs do. He goes, and you've become an exception to that, or even
Yeah,
even the thing that happened in 2010, Premios Juventud.
I was
That's
getting there. I
like,
was getting there.
yeah, those are things that they're blessings, bro.
So to the viewers, Premios Juventud is a huge. It's a national syndicate. It's a national Latino. Um, how would you say, Moyo? What would be the best way to give it a
I call
description?
I call it the Spanish MTV Music Awards.
There you go. The Spanish MTV Music Awards. So Moyo was he was you had to compete against that. People had to vote for you, I think, or something. Because I
Yeah,
remember
and
you
I
came out
hate
in
I hate putting
Gordo y
myself
la
out there.
Flaca.
Yeah, I hate putting myself out there, bro. That's one thing. I remember I ran for homecoming court and I lost. I was like, I ain't never doing that shit again. Like, fuck that. I thought people
Oh,
knew me.
Moyo.
I said I'm gonna make it. They're like, nah, you ain't gonna make it.
Yeah, so I mean, Moyo, that had to be huge, bro. I mean, you were competing with the best DJs in all of Florida, dude. I mean,
No,
besides
no, there
DJ
was
Last,
yeah,
bro. I
yeah.
mean, I don't
No, no, it
know.
was it was it was international. We had a guy from Texas
Okay.
and a guy from Miami and me that made it to the finals. I think
And
the
what
guy
were
was
you
from Miami.
judged on?
We all sent in a video of ourselves, and when I remember I was producing a TV show at the time, so I had cameras there, and I remember Betty, big shout out to Betty de Alba. Betty was like, Moyo, look, there's this contest from Univision, and they're looking for the best DJ, and we know you can win. We know you can win, and I'm like, nah. And my dude, we did that. We would record every week, and it must have been 3 or 4 weeks that she would just like bring the paper to me and show it to me. And I was like, oh, man, I'm not such a procrastinator. And I was thinking, I'm not putting myself out there, bro. And so she's like, Moyo, today's the last day.
The last day.
And I had yeah, the last day, bro. And my buddy David Dean was there, and he's helping us produce the TV show. I'm like, Dave, let's turn the cameras on, and I'll do a mix, and we'll send it in for this thing. And I literally sat there. They had a little run through of the music and some of the verbiage that they wanted us to use, and I introduced Pitbull, a few things on the video, and I sent it in that night. I think it was supposed to be in by midnight. It was like 11:59 when it went in.
Damn.
Yeah, yo. So it was like maybe 3 4 weeks. I forgot about it, and I was at Tire Kingdom, and the lady called me from Univision, and she's like, "Hey, is this Moyo?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Listen, so we," and the phone died.
Your battery died. No way, dude.
Yo, I ran into the thing, into the where they pick the car up
Yeah.
inside of the Tire Kingdom, and I told the guy to bring my truck back down so I could connect it.
So you could charge it. Wow.
Yeah. So I finally got it on, and I called her back, and she's like, "Yes." She was, "So you are a finalist." I'm like, "Okay, what does that mean?" She's like, "Well, you're gonna be on Univision.com, And now you have to tell everyone that you know to vote. I'm like, oh hell no, I can't do that. It put me back in high school, bro.
You didn't
I
want
was
to be
like,
on the
that's
homecoming court.
nah, dog. They ain't gonna like, maybe your mom gonna vote for you, but who the hell, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, and I didn't make a big deal. I was real quiet. I was like, you know what? Nah, forget that, forget that. And I told my people around me, and I just let it go. And one day, I'm back at the TV show. I'm in the studio, and I'm putting the show together, and I get a tweet. It's the craziest thing because I don't ever look at Twitter, and it said, Moyo, uh, you can win this. Rally everyone that you know, all your contacts. Yeah, la la. And it was like a real short tweet to me, a direct tweet. And I'm like, but I didn't know this guy. And his name was DJ Pana. And I'm like, I hadn't slept. It was like five in the morning, and I'm in the studio, and I looked at the tweet, and I said, boy, everybody on the radio, you're on MySpace. Shut up, MySpace.
MySpace.
And he's like, so I said, and so right then and there, 6 o'clock in the morning hit, and I called 3 radio programs. I sent a shout out to my guy that worked at Univision. I got on Univision that week, and I got on MySpace, and I hit everybody because I put the link on djmoyo.com, and I hit everybody, right? And I had people telling me, "Oh, we went to Best Buy," because not everyone had a computer, dog.
No, I mean, not,
So it's like,
yeah.
so when I won, they called me like we were recording the TV show, and I remember they called me and the guys from Univision, hey, this is Angela Ponte, and he tells me that I win, and I was like, I was floored. I didn't even think that it was gonna be possible or whatever. But yeah, I went, and when I got there, this lady named Ruby, which was the first one that called me, she's like, hey, so how did you do it? I'm like, what do you mean? She said, we've never had on Univision.com that kind of voting, like that many people
Did
voting.
you cheat? No
Yeah,
comiences. The votes were.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like that, like yeah, bien, like they wanted to recount and shit.
Yeah. Don't start. Don't start. Don't start.
We demand a
But
recount.
Moya, let me tell you, dude. When you told me that, what year was that? In 2010.
2010.
So I was in California, bro, and I remember they had your ass floating. You were like, your DJ booth was like above the crowd,
18 feet, dog. 18 feet.
dude, in the air, and then they would come in and like zoom in on you, and I'm like, it's literally, you know how you get when you know somebody and they're on TV, like, yo, Moyo is on freaking Univision
Yo,
right now, dude.
for the first time, like, I shout out to Cayetano, Polanco, and the whole family over there. They were like, we had a damn, it looked like a Super Bowl party at our house, Moyo, to watch you. Like, I was
Dude.
putting the Mama flag was flying, dog. Little kid from the hood.
all of Ruskin and Waimama and Plant, your whole
they're like,
fan
that's
base,
our boy.
bro.
You know
That's a
something
Super
funny,
Bowl
man?
for you, dude.
Yeah, it was. 11.4 million people saw that live. They broke a record that night, Univision.
That's
It
crazy,
was crazy.
Moyo.
And it was live, 3 hours.
Dude.
And
And you know what? I can probably, I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, but there's probably not another DJ in Florida. I won't say that because Manny, DJ Manny, and all your boys, all the Reyes del Mezcleo, all those guys, like, they can play a good variety of music. But I think you're the originator as far as you can go from playing a Ramon Ayala song to playing a bachata song within 4 songs of one another. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, you know
And
what? Yeah, I think that happens because when I first started 20 some odd years ago, the kids, they were the dancing crowd. And so me, I was coming off of like working in Miami where bachata had just started. I still remember bringing it here. I remember bringing like certain dances here that did really well in these areas, and the crowd here getting accustomed. Now there's a big mix of people. Now you got El Salvadorians, tienes um, Hondureños, you got Panamanians, you got all sorts of stuff. But back then you had Mexican on one side, you had Puerto Ricans and Cubans on this end in Tampa, and we were in all the rural areas. But in the
so
rural
predominantly
areas,
Mexican.
yeah, all the rural areas was Mexican, and the little guy that was playing all the music was Mexican. So he was, I was playing everything.
I
So when
mean,
they
that's
get
what
in
I'm
the
saying.
club,
That's what makes you Moyo, dude. That's your catch. That's who you are. The fact of the matter that you have both cultures makes you so freaking unique. Like you can't duplicate it, bro. I mean, if I was to pick you up and throw you in a salsa club right now, you wouldn't be uncomfortable. You know what I mean? You could
nah,
go in there and make it work. I could pick your ass
yeah,
up and go throw you in the most regional Mexican club you've ever thought of, and you be comfortable, and you know all the music, all the names of songs. Like it's not easy. Like being a DJ is not easy whatsoever. I mean, if you
yeah,
think
it
that
starts
these
with
guys
love.
just go and
It
hit
starts with
play,
love.
play,
Yeah,
hell no,
yeah,
hell
it
no.
starts with love. Like I tell guys all the time, it's like, oh, I really want to learn. I really want to learn. I like first love your music, love it all, because you have to be able to go from one to the other and enjoy it all. And I think everything I play, I love. I remember Manny when we were at Acapulco. He used to bug out because I started playing Duranguense, and he was like,
I'm with
"Oh
you, Manny.
hell no! What are you
I'm with
doing?
you, Manny.
What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Listen, look at them. They dancing their ass off," and that made me happy.
I got you.
Yeah. So
But I'm with
yeah,
Manny,
that
just
was
for the
what it is.
record. I'm with Manny. So speaking on music, Moyo, what's your take on where music's going, dude? Like where you're at, I'll tell you like this. I always get angry when I watch any kind of, and I don't even watch them anymore because of this. So you watch any Latino awards, you watch the Latin Grammys, you watch Premios Juventud, any of those shows, it really irks me that we are never represented, and we're probably, it's probably, I would go off on a tangent and say we're probably 75 to 25.
Yeah,
75% of the
I
United
totally
States
feel
is
that.
a Mexican background, and the other 25% is all the other Latin countries. But you go to these awards and it's all their music except ours. Like I
Yeah.
like I don't get it. And I said, well, maybe it's because they buy the music, right? So then I started doing my own research, and I researched that in Mexico, they're probably the number one downloading country in the world as far as music. And then I go to look at their charts. You go to look at their charts now, and then now I kind of get it. Now I kind of get it because, you know,
Well, shit. I think shit done changed
you think
because now
so?
you're like, well, no, think about it. You have like, let's say Bad Bunny. That fool was number one like all over the world.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm so you like. I go to the Mexico charts, and it'll be Bad Bunny, it'll be Maluma, it'll be all
Yeah.
these people, and I'm like, yo, well, hold up, dog. Where is? Hold up, let me keep going.
You have like
Number
Banda El Recodo with like
85,
some
number
Spanish
86.
song. Let me with a slow song.
Yeah,
It drives me nuts.
Intocable,
I'm like,
number 88.
where's el sonidito at, dog? It
I don't
never hit
know,
number one.
but I mean, do you agree with what I'm saying? Though, come to the awards, it's like
It,
you,
they don't it don't reflect. It definitely don't reflect what the audience is. I've said it for many years, but it's an industry, bro. It works like that across the board. Like the clubs never sounded what the radio sounds like, but the club is what the
True.
people want to hear.
Yeah, no, no, no. True, true. I mean, you can. That's a gift that you have. Uh, that you have a gift that's it's like I said, it cannot be duplicated. Just your culture and the way you blend music is like no other. I mean, you have country DJs, you have rock DJs, you have they know their music inside and out. You know all the music, all the music. I mean, I tell you one music that you made me uncomfortable with, and I grew up with it. Like, Bump, I can't be at the thing tonight. I need you to go and come pick up these CDs from me, and you're gonna go DJ this big ass club, country music.
What happened? I don't remember how that went down.
I
Yeah,
went,
it was
fool.
crazy.
I went. Hey, that guy paid me the money in the night. He's like, hey, we're gonna talk tomorrow. I never did it again, bro. Because these dudes wanted to hear like the music that they can do, like the line dancing to.
Yeah.
And I didn't really dig that. I was playing like George Strait, Garth Brooks. These dudes wanted to hear like the dancing kind of country music. I was two-stepping all night long. Like I was playing two-step music. So that was my first and last job for MOYO, DJing at a country bar.
Yeah,
But,
no, they wanted me to work with them, and I was like, nah. It was on an off night and a different night than my night,
it
and
was
they
a
wanted us
Thursday
to
night.
do it. Yeah, I'm like, I can't do that, dog. And I like country, I'll DJ a country wedding, but weddings are different. You play for 30 minutes and you're good. But a nightclub, you gotta keep them going for hours.
For hours, yeah, that's true. That's true. And Moyo, the people, bro, like that's what I couldn't that's when I knew you had a gift because you had people on a Sunday night religiously on a Sunday night where people were still in line at 12:30 at night. The club closed
Yeah,
at 2 in the morning on a Sunday. These people had to get
yeah,
up and go to work at 5:30, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. And our people were there, dog. They never let you down.
yeah.
People showed up. And I came when I thought about it later on, I said, man, maybe they gave Moyo Sunday because they knew that it's a dead night and people are going to show up regardless. You know?
Now, dude, when we walked in there for the first time, it was a Thursday night, and my brother was with me, and he was like, yo, man, you should do this club. And my other godson was there too. Shout out to Horacio, Veterans Day. And he's like, yeah, you could really do this. You could really do this. And I had just done like a club for a few months, and I had left it because they were getting into my money because they were trying to keep me paying me like peanuts when I was missing my parties where I was getting paid bigger peanuts. So it was still, but so I had let them go, and my brother's like, "Yo, you could really do this," and I'm like, "Nah." He goes, "Yeah, let's talk to somebody." And there was this bum, like he was literally he couldn't afford, like he was just sitting there, and but I mean when I say and with all the respect in the world, a bum, like he was literally like you could tell he walked in and he was just sitting there hoping the brother would buy him something, and the guy creeps over, he's like, "Hey, y'all want to talk to the owner?" And my brother's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "If you buy me a beer."
Oh, it was a catch.
We bought him a beer, and he brings in Steve Bazzardi as the owner of the club. Would have it. He was there that night. It was Thursday, and it was butt ass empty. And I'm like, and Gordo's like, "Hey, listen. So this is my brother, DJ Moyo. They will not do a parade in Waimama without this man. He is in front of the parade every year. This guy, when it comes to Mexican event, he's the guy that you need to have in here." And he's like, "I don't know. We tried a Spanish event in here, and we sat out here and just watched the cars go by." And he's like, "Do you think they'd come out?" I think we could get a couple people in here.
A couple's
And
better than
so
none.
I didn't know. I didn't know what was gonna. I mean, and all I did literally was doing house parties. That's all I was really doing. And then I did my little program like on Sundays or something. And And at that point, I think I wasn't even doing that. So he's like, yeah, sure. Well, let's talk. So we went down, had a conversation. Then we went and got a little meeting with the radio station. The guy from the radio station at the time, from the Mera Mera,
Hmm.
he used to be the general manager at a Tejano station in Texas, and he was this really cool cat. And he's like, "Hey, listen, so why don't you switch that to a Sunday?" I'm like, "A Sunday?" I said, "What do you think, Steve? Can we do a Sunday?" He's like, "Yeah, why not?" Because he was only doing Friday, Saturdays. And then he's like, "And why don't you call it for something for raza, for everybody?" And I'm like, "Domingos para la raza? What do you think?" And everybody was like, "Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good." And that's what I named it. My flyer was black and white, son, on Microsoft Word. And I remember that night I went to another radio station in Bradenton where my friend Annabelle had a program. And I went down there and I mixed music and I was promoting that I was going to open up Sunday nights. And I remember leaving the radio station and going straight to the club and afraid that I was going to get there late. And I get there and it's about 8 o'clock, 8:10. And I walk in, bro, and there's 8 people inside. And I was the happiest dude in the world. I was like, oh, they came. This is amazing. Yo,
With
those
the
eight
eight
people,
people
I
that were
was so
there.
happy. My dude, I was so happy, bro, relieved. And I can almost see their faces right now. And they were all from Waimama. And the older parents of some of the kids would show up later. And I was just so happy. I went and set up my stuff, my man, and they just kept coming. And they just kept coming. And we were like a capacity, and then shit starts just going left. Because there was so many people in there. And the line kept getting worse. And I was like, oh my God. And Steve comes over, he's like, Moyo, 1400. We're at 1400, we can't do this anymore. And I'm like, 1400? It started with like
Domingo para
8
la raza
people.
for the first 1400. After that, we're sorry.
No, bro, that place, now knowing what I know about capacity, that place was about 500 people.
I mean, I know when you saying 1400, I'm like,
Well, you remember, right? The
yeah, hell
size.
yeah.
Well, that was before he set up that whole second floor kind of thing. I mean,
Yeah.
this place was, I mean, it was really bad. That first event, I was scared. I didn't think it would come back.
Hey, Moyo, but I mean, imagine what that man was thinking, bro. Here on a
Yeah.
Thursday and a Sunday night, nobody's coming into his place, and then now all of a sudden, it's freaking,
Boom.
it's jam packed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
man.
crazy, dude. Like
It
I
was
said, I mean, when
crazy.
I drove up, when I saw the line, I was just like, wow. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
get over the fact of how many people were in there. And Moyo, I didn't ask you earlier, dude. You grew up with Mexican music and Puerto Rican music and stuff. How in the
Hmm.
hell would you get a hold of Tejano music? Because that's not. I mean,
Well,
was
my
that just
mom's,
your
I mean,
friends?
yeah, okay. In my music at home, it was very general. Like when it came to Mexican, it was like Tigres, Selena. I had like a Fama CD. It was very few of different kinds. And then Joe Zuniga, he was like, "Hey man, you gotta play this Tejano." I'm like, Tejano. When I say Tejano, I mean like saxophone.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
talking very jazzy. I'm
Mas
talking,
La
yeah, because
Fiebre, those kind of groups.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, I had to learn to distinguish both because what happened was when I first got like literally I started DJing parties soon after I was on the radio because of a good friend of mine named Cruz el Mexicano who gave me the opportunity, rest in peace. He gave me an opportunity to be on the radio thanks to his daughter, who was one of the students that I tutored. So she's like, my dad has a music shop. Come on over so he can give you a deal. On my first CDs, he gave me a deal. At $10 a CD. You remember when CDs were $27?
Yes, sir. 27. It was clearance. It was like 18, 19 bucks.
Yeah, he was giving me $10 a CD. And so I went from there to literally 2 weeks later being on the radio with him on Sundays. And I mean that's right there. We had a guy come over. His name's Frankie Morales, and homeboy he sold cars. And he comes over and he's like, "Hey, I want to do a Tejano program." Well, my ass didn't know Spanish, right? Like my Spanish was tore up, dog. I was sitting there talking about La Juna. So they were like, "Well, this guy, he don't he don't speak Spanish right. He talks in English most of the time. He sounds Tejano." So they stuck me with a program called the La Hora Tejana. And here, I mean, I'm good at studying, so I
He's
started
a car
studying the
salesman guy, right?
formats. Yeah,
La
so
cambia tu vieja por una nueva.
yeah, cambia tu vieja por una nueva. That's how I started with the whole Tejano scene. And then
Wow.
they pegged me like this Tejano guy, but it was really that my following, the people that were following me were, yeah, Texan. Hello, we were from the Frontera, Matamoros, Brownsville. We loved
Right.
all those groups, but we also loved Bukis. We also loved Tigres. We also loved all this other music. But I was just pegged, Tejano, right? So, but I had to learn both. I was doing my little 1 hour thing on a Sunday one time in the morning. It was like 11 to 12. I would literally carry all these CDs for 1 hour on the radio. Like, there's no way you're gonna play all them damn CDs. So I was running up in there and I get a phone call from a guy named Brother John.
Brother
And
John?
he was, yeah. And I still remember the phone call. He's like, "Hey man, Moyo man, you sound really good on the radio." Dude, he called me dude. And I'm like, "Yeah, this guy sounds funny, like he's from Texas." And he's like, "I'm here with Carlos Los Cachorros. And we were we're going to Jaripeo and we're listening to you." And he's like, "Hey man, it sounds like we're in Texas." And he's like, "If I could give you one bit of advice, man, if you would let me, don't call yourself Tejano." I'm like, "Oh, elaborate." And he's like, even Bobby Pulido dropped the Tejano because he wants to be across the board. And I was like, "Oh, that was the first time I ever heard that." I thought people were just liking it, but it did. It labeled you, and then it would cause everyone else to see you that way. So that was one of the first lessons in the
In the
difference
industry.
of both of them. Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
to me it was like I thought I was playing for everybody.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, like I said, Moyo can, if for my viewers that never heard, I mean, Moyo, where can people go and like if they want to hear just you got anything on YouTube or anything they can kind of hear like a good taste of where you can go from point A to point B real quick.
Yeah, I actually just did a BMO Harris Bank. They got me to do the Hispanic Heritage Month. I did Canada and United States, all their branches via live stream. And that was cool because I played starting from dance music from Pitbull to Celia Cruz to Tito Puente to Selena to all the way through the genres, even Brazilian music. And I think it was one of the funnest things I've done this year. Because usually I do like stuff for TV stations where I have to go and play old school hip hop, a little bit of everything. Yeah, people think it's crazy because I go and do these parties and they're like, "Damn, like I have two totally different, ¿cómo se dice? Identities."
Yeah, hell yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I mean. You can go.
yeah,
You are a chameleon, bro. You fit into your
yeah,
surroundings. Hey, Moy, do you
yeah.
still have
What?
the app? You still have the DJ Moyo app?
No, I switched out. Like I think it was really hard for the third party software that I was using. And when people were asking me for the mixes, I recently went to something called Patreon. And on Patreon, I really like it because like if people that are like really followers can really get with you. And so they subscribe to the service and they get all my mixes. And so I do video mixes. I have my regular mixes. I have my Acapulco live mixes. I have all the old school mixes coming from
Time
like
out,
20
bro.
years
He
back.
just said, did y'all hear that? For all the people in Central Florida, he just said Acapulco mixes. That means
Yes,
from way back in the day when he had that club
little recorder.
rocking, rocking. Moyo, I want to talk
Yeah.
about, since you brought it up, I want to talk about that a little bit, dude. I want to talk about where our relationship went and the, I mean,
Let me
dude,
start.
let's do it. Go. Yeah,
All right.
I want to hear your side.
So it's like a Thursday night, and I'm walking up to this one club, and it's about 4 blocks away from the Spurs nightclub that we've been talking about. And I go in there, and the guy, his name's Juicy, has a spot there, and he's like, "I known him since I was a kid." And he's like, "What are you up to?" I said, "Oh, well, I'm promoting on the street. It's a Mexican night. We do it on Sundays, blah blah blah." He's like, "Oh," he goes, "You should come over and do one here." I'm like, "Yeah, give me Fridays." And he's like, "Oh, no, no, no." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, I have salsa merengue. I have Fania old school. I have this night with this and that, and it was all the classic stuff." And I'm like, Okay." I said, "But there's not like a lot of people here. Like we could go ahead and put my night." He's like, "No, no, 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 no." he don't want me, he don't
He
want to
wasn't
mess up his
budging.
mix. Yeah, like and it's and I didn't understand yet. It was like what's wrong with Mexican music? You know? And so he's like, "I'll give you a Thursday." I'm like, I already do a Sunday. Like,
Totally
so
off the
he's
wall nights, bro.
yeah, and I'm like, damn. I said, "Listen, man, I'll do your Thursday if I bring enough people that outweighs all your other nights. And then you got to give me Friday." And he's like, "You're on." So I literally went through the story with him the other day. He's a good buddy of mine. And he's like, "Okay, so I promote the night. I open my first Thursday night. And it wasn't bad. It was a Thursday. But I think we had almost 400 people, three something. And he was like, "On a Thursday?" So he calls me into the VIP area. He's like, "Moyo, you got Fridays." And he's like, "Can you put together?" Oh no, I totally got confused. But that's how I ended up at that building,
Yeah, it
which
was
then
El
would become
Corazon.
Acapulco, El Corazon. Okay, so fast forward a few months, they ended up closing down that business.
Yeah, stop
And
right
I
there.
ended up,
My
okay,
first date with my wife now was
uh-huh.
supposed to be a Friday night at El Corazon.
Stop.
Let me
Stop
tell
it.
you. She's like, meet me at
Seriously?
this place, blah, blah. It's right behind platforms and Ebor. I
Are you
take my boy
serious?
Tigo. Tigo, you got to see this girl, bro. Like, I'm telling you. He's like, all right, let's go. So you know how he is, bro. Another Boricua, right? He was my fellow Marine. We show up there, and there's
Shut
no
up, Tigo.
cars. The doors are closed, and he's looking at me like, "Yo, this chick just set your ass up and lied to
Oh
you.
no.
There ain't no damn club open. She lied to you. She stood your
Wow.
ass up."
I
So
bet you that was the night we closed.
dude, it had to have been because I mean we both thought it was open. Long story short, I take a half a block walk onto the main street, and just so happened to run into all her family, and then I ran into her, and we ended up going to Empire that night. But yeah, at first Tigo was like, "Yo, this chick lied to you, bro. She ain't gonna come see you, go on no date with you."
Oh
So
man.
I didn't mean to cut you
That
in right there.
oh no, no, but that's very true. So that same building would later turn into Acapulco. And when Acapulco opened up, we needed security staff. And what better security than Marine Corps, guys that are off duty? And Bumper's like, "I got this, Mo." No, hombre, me trajo la tropa F.
Dude. But you know, you were having issues. This is what I told you. I said, Moyo, You keep hiring security that grew up with all these people. They already have grudges. Like they're gonna automatically pick sides. How about I just bring
Yep.
a whole
Fresh
crew?
new
We
crew.
don't know anybody from left to right, up and down, and we're just gonna be fair across the board. And you're like,
And
let's
they
make it happen.
and you said, and these guys like, good money on the side.
Yeah,
They like that side money was nice.
bro. Moyo, I remember going with you. I only had a few guys who were going to do it, and so then I started like trying to recruit dudes from like the other nightclubs, right? And I remember now. Remember, you had Spurs already booming, and
Yeah.
people it already had like hey, that place gets wild. You know what I mean? It had
Yeah. Yeah.
that image because our people we're prideful people, bro. We like to drink and we have a good time, and sometimes hey, chingazos are thrown. That's just the way we are. So I remember going out somewhere, and then I would go up to a security guy, big old tough guy, and be like, "Hey, bro, how much they paying you? $40 a night." I'm like, "That's." I said, "Dude, you want to come work for us?" And they would be like, "Where?" I said, "Well, we're working on getting a club. A buddy Moyo's opening this club called Acapulco." And he goes, "What kind of club is this?" It's a Mexican club. He goes, "Like the ones from across, like this is at Empire." He goes, "Like
Empire.
at Spurs." He goes, "Nah, homeboy, no, you can't pay me enough money to go work over there." I said, he goes, "You pay me $40, I stand here and look good all night. I don't got to work."
That's all they want. They wanted their $40 and send them in look good.
That's it. So Moyo, he gave me a ticket and said, "Hey man, go run with this ticket and let's get some people." And that was just another part of that business, bro. I mean, that's a huge part
Yeah.
of.
That's bad, hey, but no por nada, but that's the best security I ever had.
Thank you, bro. Thank you,
But like, yeah, the team was great. Garcia, all the boys.
bro. I got scars on me. I
Yeah.
got scars in that
And I'm not
place.
talking about stories.
Hey, I tell you what, it made me it set me up for Iraq and Afghanistan, bro. It was, I mean, those dudes ain't got nothing on the people inside there. But Moyo, you opened up this huge Acapulco, and it was huge, bro. Like I don't think there was anything like it, and it just as the months went on, the patrones kept putting more money into it and more money into it, and I mean, literally, we freaking just saw it blow up and get bigger and bigger, and then you started off with groups that, they were probably
Smaller Tejano groups.
smaller Tejano groups, and then next thing
Yeah,
you
we
know,
took Signo
boom.
there. The first time they came to Florida, we brought them there.
Who?
Signo.
Signal, yeah, they're at and then we put the stage up higher, and he just blew up and blew up and blew up and blew up, and I was just like, damn, dog. And then as you said earlier, you left that place, and with your knowledge of doing all of that stuff, you went and did your own thing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You
yeah.
had 301. How
I thought
long
I
was?
thought I was I thought I was done, dude. But teaching don't pay the same.
Yeah, but Moyo, let me tell the viewers, bro. Moyo got to a point to where this dude was like a Madonna, bro. Like he was the movie star. We had our boy Manny. Shout out to our boy. There's DJ Manny. There's a homeboy Manny. There's a lot of Mannys. So Manny used to help Moyo DJ, and he would
My
get
hype
there
man.
early. He would get there early. Moyo, you know that word, early? He would
Yeah.
get there early. We'd set everything up, and he'd get everybody booming and going. And then here comes Moyle, coming off his limousine with his little backpack, ready to go, GQ'd up. All right, Doc, let me get on the stage and make this shit happen. And boom, as soon as Moyle grabbed that mic and started talking, dog, it just went to and no offense to Manny, just went to another, like, people, the ambiente, dude, just everybody you would pump everybody up, and people work hard for their money all week, and they didn't have no problem spending money in that place. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for
But
sure.
when I was on quinceañeras and I had those two speakers before I had the club, and I think the love for hip hop got me to do the way I was with the people, because hip hop, you go in a hip hop club, you got the hype man going, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Ah, everybody, and you went to a Mexican spot back then, you didn't get that vibe. And that's what I wanted to do. So as soon as I was let loose, As soon as I was let loose, it was over. Like I remember at the parties, just the regular quinceañeras, the groups would get mad at me, dog. Cause back then era puro conjunto. The conjunto be playing, and now here's this kid with two speakers, and I put them on top of tables because we had speaker stands. Put on top of put them on the tables, and I'd start DJing. Well, as soon as the band was done, and you had that little segment of DJ, the kids would just go to the dance floor and have a good time, right? So my crazy ass would get on the damn table, and I'm like, when I say Moyo, you say time. Moyo, time. And the group's pissed off, dog. They used to get mad. And
Because it
they
didn't
were
come
like, hey,
back
ya
on, and
córtale.
bro, and it.
Nobody, dog. I felt bad, but I didn't understand. Like, I was just doing me, and not thinking, what was going on with them. But it
Right.
was really like, yeah, it was bad. It was really bad for them. And then after a while, I was like, oh, I want to take this so that I can do a party and you don't even need a band. And like literally, that's what happened.
That's what made DJ Moyo. Look, Moyo, we got a comment from right field.
Moyo took us, ¿qué? Swimming to the swamp.
Moyo took a swim in the swamp. We didn't know better. We were from Naranja. That's Micha.
They weren't ready.
They weren't ready, dog. They weren't ready. Moyo,
Yeah.
we talked a crap load about music, and we touched a little bit on the things that you've done for the community. But before we're coming down to the end. Before I let you go, there's a part that I've been keeping out the whole time,
Yeah.
and I knew you before, and I don't know, maybe it was 18 months, 2 years ago, a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I get a phone call like, "Hey, where you at?" It's like, I'm here at the house. Give me your address. And Moyo pulls up to my house. He pulls up to my house here in San Antonio, Texas. And he pulls up in an RV, bro. This huge RV. And these monster kids start just coming out.
Oh, big
Right.
ass kids.
And I was just in amazement, like man, had it been that long that I'd been away from you on a personal basis all the time, and
Yeah.
when you do that, you forget that the life goes. People think when you haven't seen somebody that you pick up right and their life hasn't changed, and your
Yeah.
life had changed drastically.
Like, oh, damn.
So what I'm getting at, what just warmed my heart, bro. Neta was seeing you as a dad.
Yeah.
That just, dude, there's no words to describe how sometimes things happen in my life, and I don't really say them, but just watching my friend, just watching you, Moyo, DJ Moyo, not the party animal in a sense, but the guy who get the party going and stuff, and now you're a father, bro. You're a dad.
Yeah.
How's that? How's the life of a
That's
dad?
the most important part of my life. It's why we do the things we do, Yeah. And it's also the scariest part. Like you don't think about it day by day, but it's down in there, Are we doing it right? Yeah, I was just talking about it with my manager today. Like we don't have a plan in place. We're going off of what our folks taught us. And I say it, and she's right here in the room. But my better half, mi media naranja, one thing that I love about her is that me manda videos of either having to do with spirituality, growing, being a better pareja, things that we can always do better. And I think in the last 3 or 4 years, I think it's been the most important part of my life in growth, and bringing myself down to playing with the cat, dude.
No.
But bringing myself to understand how important that is, and I want them when my partner Chuck in at 301 when I remember having a conversation with him, and he was older. He was in the 70s at the time, and he said, you know, Moya, when I leave this world, yeah, he was well off. I'm gonna spend everything. I'm not gonna leave my kids anything. And I'm like, he said because I taught them how to defend themselves, and they'll never need anything because of what I've taught them. And I think for us, and today we were talking about it with a friend of mine, it was the same thing. Being a dad and a mom, that's the most important part of our job, not how much we can leave them. Teach them to drink from the well, teach them to work for it, teach them all those good things. And I remember my son, I was accepting an award, I think it was last year sometime. I accepted an award and I took them. I said, you know, I never take them with me, and I got them some tuxes, and we all went out. It was a gala. I took my mom, and we get up there, and I remember we went to try the suits on, and we're getting off at the parking lot. And, you know, my son's probably 12 at the time. You don't know how they think, right? But this is what they think. He's like, yo, dad. So what happens if you get the award and then you walk? I gotta fix my headband. Hold on. So you walk up there and you get assassinated. Like, what the fuck?
Who comes up with this?
Like some presidential shit, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm hit. So I'm like, well, you're gonna be really well off. And because what I could think about was like, if I pass away, all of a sudden they're left with, you know, what do they have? Their memories of me,
Now they got to
and
fend for themselves.
yeah, yeah, and like some life insurance money, and right. So what happens then? And so I'm like, so what happens when you have all this money and what you gonna do and no dad? What are you gonna do then? And my 12-year old's like, buy real estate. I'm like, there you go.
Already thinking, bro. You already said it. But you said something,
Yeah,
Moyo, you about your boys. Like, you know, as parents, I always say this. Many episodes of us says you can. Your job as a parent is to take them to the creek. You know,
yeah,
you drag them to the creek. Once you get them to the creek, you show them how to get there. You show them the path. You can't make them drink. They'll drink when they want to drink.
yeah.
And I think as parents sometimes we really bash ourselves because they don't want to drink when we want them to drink. And as a
Exactly.
dad, like that's a hard thing to grasp. Like, God dang it, I brought you here. I put in all this work to get you here, and now you don't want to drink.
It
And
ain't gonna
and
happen when we see it. It's gonna happen when they need it the most.
yeah, yeah, no, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. You know, you said that, so it kind of rang a bell. But yeah, man, I mean that's a part of life that people that are watching on your side of the world over there. Yeah, maybe you guys don't get to hear that about Moyo. You know, he's got a soft side
Yeah.
to him. He's not just a guy jumping around and getting you dancing and dude, you do all kinds of stuff, bro. I'd be here for 30 minutes saying all the stuff that you're into. Um, but I I wanna. Did somebody sent me a message? I don't know. I didn't do that. Anyway, I want to I want to thank you, Moyo, for hanging out with me. I know it's 2 hours. You're in hurricane conditions in Florida,
It's been
and here you,
downgraded. It's like a tropical storm.
yeah, here you are, man. And Moyo, you know what? I want to thank you, bro. Every time, dude. Every time that I would call you, we could go months, years, sometimes not hearing each other's voice. Moyo still has the same phone number. I mean, I got it
Yeah.
memorized. I mean, I have it memorized before we had cell phones. I had your number memorized, and so um, it's like we pick off, like you know what I mean. We pick up right where we left off,
Totally.
and just kind of go with what's going on in our world, dude. But bro, I want to tell you, man, that I tell a lot of people who I talk to, especially musicians. For me, it's musicians because I'm a big Tejano guy. I'm a big, I got a passion for that music. I love it. And you were my home away from home, bro. I remember talking to my mom, and I would say more. She's like, and then when I got with my wife and met her family, like literally, it was like being back here in Texas, and it just
Yeah.
I was in the military, but I had a life. Like it was like being at home. You know what I mean? So that was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to tell you is that you touch a lot of people, bro. You know, a lot of men, especially men, they're not gonna come up to you and say, "Hey, gracias, Moyo, you helped me during the time," and you're asking yourself like, "How the hell did I help somebody?" Music, bro, music
Yeah.
soothes the soul. Music
It
helps
does.
people get through things that you never imagined. And where I'm coming from, and I'm coming to you on this Veterans Day is to tell you, you know, I had those mixes. I had some of those Moyo CDs, bootleg ones you used to sell. The what do you call it? And when I was deployed, you'd have a long day, and whatever it consisted of. I mean, you figure you're in war. You figure out what a long day is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You could always come back, man. Find the little corner, find your rack, wherever you're gonna lay your head. Put your headphones on, jam your music, and it would just give you this warm feeling, bro, and let you know that the world's still spinning, and our families and our culture and what we love is still on the other side of the world, and everybody's still alive. And
Yeah.
people don't realize. I mean, unless you've been there and done that, you can agree with what I'm saying on how much it just reminds us of home, and it soothes your brain, bro. It takes away from what happened that day, and it kind of just makes you just mellow out.
Yeah.
It's a drug. It's a drug in its own, on the real. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you
It
for that.
surprises. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, it surprises me too when I bump into people and they're like, "Yo, every day at 5 o'clock, like I just can't wait for it to get here." Like it is, it drives them. And it was like, I forget that it's even on. Like I just do what I love to do, and um, I'm just blessed to, I've said it over and over again. Not everyone makes a career of what you do, what you love to do.
Right.
Here we are. You're behind that microphone because it's like, oh, you found a new passion. And that passion to me has run for 20 some odd years. It's always done it for me, and so I don't know. I've been blessed, and I'm very thankful for everyone that listens, for everyone that takes time to. Um, like right now with that whole Patreon account, like I'm able to share with everybody. I remember when I had the app, some of my faithful listeners were around the world, Germany, Japan.
Wow.
I'm like, there's Mexicans over there, and they're out there, and they, it's a beautiful thing that when music makes them come together.
Definitely, definitely. I mean that's a for sure thing. Music does make people come together of all walks of life, man. Moyo, thank you, bro, again for hanging out with me. Thank you for just being Moyo, dude. Keep being that strong father. Keep being that figure for the community. You know what I'm saying? Because like I tell people all the time, sometimes you don't realize how many people look up to you, and nobody's gonna tell you to your face. You know what I'm saying? Then
Yeah,
you got the people who look at you and they're just waiting for you to fall. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But that does, in every situation there's people like that, and that's
Hey, but
okay.
you can't fall. You can't fall if you're already on the bottom.
That's it, baby.
I'm
That's it.
good.
You just got to get up, shake yourself off, and
I'm
and
right here
keep moving
chilling.
forward. So
Yeah.
I want to say, God bless you, bro. God bless your family. God bless your parents, your siblings. They were all big part of my life. I consider them family. Um, and definitely you've always given me the VIP experience to the fullest. And if you ain't around, it's a phone call to your sister, and like, you know what I mean. I mean, and I love it. I love it, bro. You guys always treat me awesome. So
Yeah, we're
thank you,
brothers,
Moyo.
man. We're brothers.
If to the viewers that are watching, you can look, just Google DJ Moyle, you'll find everything about DJ Moyle. I promise you, there's only one DJ Moyle.
Yeah.
But Moyle, before one thing before I let you go,
Dime.
two things actually. One day I'm gonna set up a DJ battle, and the DJ battle would be Moyle
Ándale.
versus dude. I'm having a brain fart right now.
Who?
The KXTN DJ we've had forever today. Oh my God! Somebody in the messages help me out. The San Antonio
Can,
DJ.
can he rock a mic?
Well, that's where you get him, but his Tejano mixes are freaking, you know,
Well, let me
are
tell you. Now
amazing.
that you say that, did you said KXPN, right?
Yeah.
Well, when I used to drive to Brownsville, we'd ride through Houston, and in Houston, I would listen to Kakukuka. And I heard a remix, and I was DJing out here, and I heard a remix over there, and it spawned me to start. Well, it pressed me to like start doing remixes, and I really like doing that. Like Texas DJs have always pushed me to be better, and the only thing that distinguishes me, bro, is this big mouth of mine.
No,
And I mean,
definitely.
that's all I can tell you. Yeah, when it comes to ambiente, like try the that little broadcast that I did. I had to make people rock all over the world, like via this thing. And if I would have just had there and mixed the music, I think they would have been like.
Yeah.
But thanks to my dad pushing that microphone and saying, "You ain't gonna make no money."
That's in the
Uh,
back of your head. That's in the back of
yeah,
your
you
head.
gotta rock the mic. Yeah, the show I think is that. I think anything that helped me was the gab. The
The
ga-
gift of
the, the
gab.
gab yeah the gab really separated me from everybody else.
Hey,
I really
Moyo,
do.
a comment. What would you say to my viewers, bro, about the show, about the thing before I let you go?
How about your show?
Yeah.
I love it. I think what you're doing is you're being sincere, and for any interviewer is key. Is key. I think that when you get with somebody like, yeah, I feel like we're in our living room talking right now,
Well, you
and
are.
I think that's probably the most important part. And yeah, well, actually, I did. Yeah, today. I was gonna be in the studio, but thanks to the hurricane.
Yeah, yeah. And Moyo, my
So
my very last question for you, I should have asked it earlier. If you were speaking to a room of 15 to 25-year-olds in the world that we live in today, it could be short, it could be long. We don't pay for time. What would you tell them?
I think we never, something really important, especially right now, with like the pandemic, and you don't know how successful you're gonna be. But it don't matter how successful you're gonna be. It's about how smart you are. I was talking to a room of students who were about to graduate for USF, the Mexican American Student Association, and knowing what I know now, if I'd have known it when I was starting, I would have definitely learned about investments because I remember asking questions in my 20s because you used to hear all the stuff on the TV and all this stuff like
Right.
but that didn't exist in our life. And I thought the more money you made, the better you were. And it's not like that. And that's, I think, what I teach now my kids and anyone new to any kind of business and any kind of job. I don't care if you're making minimum wage or you're doing big things. If you're in business and in your business for yourself, best when you're working the school system or if you're a police officer, or if you're in the military, that stuff comes connected to what you do.
Right.
But if you're an entrepreneur and you do not know how to manage, they don't teach you that in school. And I think those are the things that I would tell anybody starting their own business, even going into their jobs, is educate yourself. And I mean, if they hear it now, they literally, I think in the next couple of years, it's probably something I am going to do is get more on that train of teaching. I'm on the Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce, Latin Chamber of Commerce. And one of the things that they're aimed at doing is advocating for high school students going into college and college students going into work. And I said, that's what I want to do. Because if you can teach them anything right now, it don't matter how successful you are. You from one job to another, if you do the right things, you can have an amazing life and not have to worry about the ups and downs and pandemics and things like
Right.
that.
Right.
I got real lucky that I learned, bro. I learned, I learned like late in life, and I think, and I'm not afraid to talk about it anymore because it's like it's so important. So many, like if you tell kids every day, don't drop out of school, don't drop out of school, don't drop out of school, but you don't tell them why. You don't tell them what's on the other side. Those things I think are the most important things. Like, yo, you got to be prepared. So everyone's gonna have a job,
No, you're right.
but I've come across, bro, custodians at schools that are millionaires.
Y'all hear that?
Someone taught them how to do that.
Yeah. Knowledge is power, bro. Knowledge is power.
Yes,
Knowledge
yes.
is power.
So at that
So
age right there, if you learn a few tricks, you're gonna be golden. Because at the end of the day, it's not about being well off. It's about being able to have the time to do the things like you want to help the community, but you got to help yourself first. When you're in the airplane, lo primero que te dicen es que if we're going down, vienen las máscaras, and when the masks fall, they say put it on yourself first. Because if not, you're not gonna be able to put it on your child.
easy right there. That's how you can connect to people right there. It's true.
Yeah.
You got to help yourself first before you can help anybody else.
So get good. Get good at what you do, and then you can spread the love.
Ay. Bueno,
Yeah.
Moyo. Gracias, bro. It's been a pleasure having you on my show.
I'm
And
proud of you.
thank you, man. I appreciate it. That really means a lot coming from
Happy
you
Veterans Day.
and the education that I mean the you being in this industry for a long time. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
No, that's
So
awesome. Hey, I'm a big Howard Stern fan and Bumper Gomez fan.
there you go, baby. There you go. But bueno, Moyo, well, take care, bro, and hopefully the hurricane blows over you guys and you're good to go.
Yeah, I just want him to be able to order pizza. Hopefully the delivery guy can still come through.
All right, Moyo, love you, bro, and thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Love you, brother. God
All
bless.
right, man. Later.
Bye, WeChat.
She can hear you. She's watching another room. All right, Moyo, be good, man.
Take care. God bless you.
All right. Yo, that was DJ Moyo, man, all the way from the Tampa, Florida area. And dude, I mean, to have that guy on my show means so much to me personally. For all my viewers, I know I've kind of had a lot of people just from Texas, and I had somebody from New York last week, and I hit him up one time, and he's like, "Tell me when." And he was down. He knocked it out. He's like, I'll do it. But I can't hang up tonight without just talking a little bit more on being a veteran. And to all the veterans, I know a lot of people are waiting for a good veteran show. And like I said earlier, I kind of like, I'm not gonna hit on that. But oh my God. See what I got to put up with, guys. But yeah, man, to all the veterans, dude, thank you for your service. Whether you served 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 40 years, or 30 years, thank you. And to my viewers who are not veterans, or maybe you don't know anybody in the military, you gotta remember, man, these people they are signing a check that is not, you don't know what it's going to be cashed for. It could be their life. You just don't know. So today on Veterans Day, thank you, man. Thank you for making this country free, and thank you for being great Americans. Being great Americans. I've been listening to a lot of talk radio lately and interviews. Like I said, I've been trying to stay away from the news as much as possible, and it hurts, man. On this Veterans Day, from a veteran telling my viewers, like, it hurts. It hurts to see the country in agony and pain. Bumper, what are you talking about, bro? We're not this. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are a country divided right now. My buddy Benny, shout out to my buddy Benny Puente down in Beeville. He came out the other day and he did a live, and I was listening to some of his words. And when I flip through TikTok and stuff, and I hear people talking, and it's, I don't know what we got to do, man. I don't know what we have to do to make our country unite in a way. I mean, to think that we're all going to be united instantaneous. I mean, common sense, that's not going to happen. But it's just like, man, it's either, to me, it's like you walk around. This is me personally. Maybe you think differently, but it's like you walk around. It's like, it's almost like in a gang, bro. Like, are you red or blue? Are you this or you that? And if they don't agree with what you agree with, when they're automatically an enemy, they're automatically like, hey, get out of my face. Like, I don't want to have nothing to do with you. And it's ugly, bro. It's ugly. Like, I hate thinking like that. I hate it. Like, it's awful. So as a veteran, you know, I'm going to do my part. I want to do my part to bring people together. And I think my show kind of does that. You know, I just kind of get a little bit of walks of life of, you know, talking to different people, different stories. So you guys know that there's different people out there, and we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different beliefs. That's okay. That's what makes this country great. That's what makes us the United States of America. If you've never stepped foot, and when I mean step foot, going to Matamoros, Laredo, Tijuana, that doesn't count. But if you've never really stepped foot into another country and seen the way people live and see the way we live here in the United States, you have no idea how great we have it here in this country, regardless of who is president of the United States of America. You have no idea. But yet here we are, arguing amongst each other, you know, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm real. Like, I'm guilty. Like, sometimes I see comments and stuff, and I can't help myself. I got to be like, nah, dude, for real? Like, you know, and, you know, I'm sure people are saying that right now, like, Bumper, you're talking about unity. You're the first person jumping on somebody on a comment on Facebook or whatever, because it, you know, it doesn't agree with what I agree with. I get it. You know, I get it, but I really want people to just be better people, man. It's ugly, dude. I mean, any viewers out there, does anybody agree with me, disagree with me? Like, do y'all feel the same way, or is it just me? I mean, am I just being crazy to think that that's not true? I mean, I don't know. Let's see if anybody's still out there watching. So I don't know, man. We got the holidays coming up. We got that to look forward to, and Christmas. And with all that going on, we have all this chaos in the background. And I don't know. I think we need to do a better job as a whole, be a more united country. And with that being said, whatever comes of this election, I think we need to, if you don't agree with whoever's in charge, just keep your mouth shut. It's easy. Just, and we have not given President Trump, I'll be the first to say, he never got a fair shake. Regardless of how you feel about him, I mean, I don't really like the guy, but he's never got a fair shake from the very beginning. Even before he won, he never has, and that, I can honestly say. But if Biden ends up being the president, I mean, dude, I don't know. It's crazy. Like when people like put on their, oh, there goes our guns. Come on, people, for real. I mean, do we think that somebody's gonna come to your door and be like, "Hey, give me your gun"? Far-fetched. Be realistic, dude. Be realistic when it comes to stuff like that. You know what I mean? But who am I? I'm just a old retired Marine that talks on Facebook for a few hours on a Wednesday evening. So, with that being said, shout out. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. Last week we lost one of my heroes, one of my personal heroes growing up. My great tío, Mr. Chon Moron, in Vivo, Texas. He was a Bronze Star winner. Dual. He had 2 Bronze Stars. He passed away, I want to say, at the age of 92, and he lived a great life. He lived a long, rich, great life. He has a huge family, many grandkids and great grandkids. So if any of my familia is watching from the Morones, again, my condolences from my family to yours. And he will be missed. He was a legend, and for all of us in the family when the military, he was somebody that we admired and looked up to. So rest in peace to my tío Chon Moron. Who else? What else was we gonna bring up before I think that's it. But 94, man. I had somebody watching. My tíos are watching there in Woodsboro. Shout out to everybody in Woodsboro, Texas. You know what, dude? Let me go through here real quick because I feel bad when people comment and I don't get to say hello. And shout out to Manny Ayala, another great DJ, another great. He works with promoters down there in Florida. Manny, thanks for tuning in, bro. I really appreciate it, and keep doing what you're doing, bro. And thanks for always helping out my buddies from all the different groups that I know. When they go over there, everybody, if you say Manny Ayala, they know who you are, bro. So you and MOYO, very humble people. Let's see. Shout out to Robert Silva. It's probably, I want to say Waimama maybe. What's up, Rob? Who else is on here? Shout out to my let's see, somebody was on the Oregon coast I saw. Oh, my Gabe Perez down in Oregon. Thanks for watching, man. You watch every week. I appreciate it. Here we go. Here's a comment. I feel you, brother. Some people say stop being so nice and stop caring about everyone else, but who am I? And I feel the same. The world is getting crazier by the day. Anyway, good show, bro, and good night. Shout out to my boy. His name is he calls himself Neva Luna, but it's actually Heaven Luna. It's backwards. He's out there truck driving, listening to the show, man. Thanks for tuning in, bro. It means a lot. To my wife, who always watches, and she'll comment on here. So if you guys see him comment, it's not me commenting. It's my wife. We share Facebook, yes, and she's the one doing the comments. I don't want to miss nobody. Let's see. Let me go through here real quick. To my primo Gabriel down watching in Dallas, Fort Worth. Thanks for always watching, man. Thank you, and thank you for those words. Again, to Woodsboro, to my tia and my tío Jaime Normacano. Thank you, guys. That's it. If I missed you, I'm sorry. My boy Verdi Barra, Grupo Completo down in South Florida, doing big things, bro. Shout out to Vert. and Grupo Completo. Shout out to Macizo, Isaías. Thanks for tuning in. You're always tuning in, bro. I really appreciate that. You guys have a great week, dude. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being who you guys are. Keep doing you. Keep being you. And look forward. If you're tuning in the first time, man. Oh, shoot. I forgot. To Johnny Santana. Big Johnny. Thanks for tuning in, Johnny. I really appreciate it. If you guys, the first time tuning in, I do this every Wednesday at 7:30. And one more thing before I get off. I keep saying that, right? If you haven't already, please, please, please go on YouTube, look up Bumper Gomez, subscribe, like. All the videos on my Wacky Wednesdays are all on there. You can watch them at your convenience. As soon as we're done here, I post them onto YouTube. Look up Bumper Gomez, subscribe to my channel. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And share it on your page. Don't just share it. Say, hey, this is my buddy Bumper, and he needs people to subscribe to this channel. Get out there and do it. You know, I got a lot of friends. If every one of my friends on Facebook would do it, I'd be already on YouTube Live already. But, you know how that goes. So, if you haven't already, look up Bumper Gomez on YouTube and subscribe. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Again, thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week, 7:30. Should be another great show. And with that said, y'all have a great night. Wacky Wednesday, and we're out.